That's what I expressed to me. Really? Yeah. But if you're on for Raroa.
Okay, good everyone. Welcome. 25th of September, Kuaka week. And just welcome our manahiri in the room.
Tui a te heke tui a te kaho tū. Heri ki tawira nāna i piki te pai tū, atahi te pai tū, anua te pai hi rātu anai. Tui a rangi nui e tui honei, tui a papatu anuku e horana. Tui a te muka tangata i take mai Hawaii ki nui, Hawaii ki roa, Hawaii ki pā mā o te pono mai mai. Tui a te muka tangata ka rongo te pō, ka rongo te ao. I te pōrero i te wānanga pūa, takataka pūa, fio, ka hunuku te marama, ka hurangi te marama. Ka takoto ki te hau o tū, te wini tū, te wana tū, whakapukaina ki te whaiao, ki te ao marama, e rungo whakairia ki runga tū, tunu whakamaua ki a tina. Aumi e, hui e, tai. Ko tahi māku te wehi kia i hua koe e te tīmatatanga me te whakaputunga ngā mea katoa. Rerea, whananga mihi kia koe e kara mo tō tātou hui tata nei, nā ui tīmata i raro i ngā inoe ki tō tātou matu ni te rangi, e ara taki ai tātou. Te arapu hoa, o te rohe, o ngā whānau, o ngā hapu, o ngā iwi, o tano. E mihi ana kia koe. I hea ngā tine mate, hinga mai nā hinga atu nei. Tuku ngā mihi hoki ki tērā o tātou rangatira i roto manga muka. Me te whānau pani. Ore tae te pēhea, oino. Ea te kōrero, haere ngā mate, haere koe e tēnā. Ka hoki mai kia tātou e tātou mai, e hui nei i roto i tēnei o tātou whare o te kauni hera. Nā tātou tēnei whare. Tēnei one e mihi ana kia koutou ngā whanau ko tai mai tēnei ata. Ono ki te whiriwhiri kōrero, ki te rapu huarai. Ke te mihi hoki kia kōrua tahi i ngā tokorua, e whakahaere nei tēnei o tātou hui. Ngā mihi kia koe hoki e tō tātou si, e tō tātou rangatira hoki, kōrua tahi e kahi kā me kōwhai. Tātou hoki, kei te tēpu, hono mihi ana. O tātou kaimahi, kei muri, ngā tuara o māhu, hono me mihi kauatu kia rātu hoki. Pera kore taia rātu te mahi ngā mahi, kore taia tātou i mua te ārai. Nō reira hono e Hilda, e Harry, hono mihi ana. E maha ngā mahi kei tua i a tātou i tēnei ata, oino tēnei, akatau, ina mihi ana kia tātou katoa. Tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa.
Korero, I ngā tua tētei kura, o rātu e rau. Arake e tētei kura, o tātou tētei, whene mihiana. Just a plug out, on the weekend, there's the Hokianga Country Festival. Friday, Saturday.
Between our karaki and our waiata, I feel nicely zoomed up, so kapai. Got apologies in front of us. We've got Tamati, Penatoa and Felicity, and then there's a whole raft of us from Parliament who are here today. I know they're working. It's like everybody else, we've just got stacks on the mill. So just someone to receive and move the apologies, please.
Have you moved? They're talking about.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
Aye.
Oh, yes, that is how we are in autonomous motion. All in favour? Thank you. Okay, chairperson announcements, just a couple from me and I'll just open up to everybody else. There's an opportunity. The extraordinary general meeting that Whanau just held just a couple of weeks ago, my view was a very articulate expression of our aspirations we set as a community. Moko, I was really buoyed by the way you led that, you and your team led that, and how we got the tautoko, because one of the notions I'm always interested in is when I asked my mum, how did my grandparents support kaupapa, as they would turn up, and their presence was an acknowledgement of tautoko. So we saw that in the room from the iwi in the space. We're just going to watch how this current government chews it up, and we'll make sure it doesn't spit it out the way that makes us really grumpy. So from a Whanau District Council perspective, well done leading that charge. Second one is I attended the Aerospace Summit in Christchurch yesterday. I'm part of a Māori rōpū thinking about how does our epistemology reflect in that space, which is called up there, rangi. How might we use that for good? I was quite reminded as I was walking into the convention centre, there was a very loud group of protesters waving Palestinian flags and articulating militarisation space. Why am I bringing that to this table? Because it's another way of looking around our aspiration and how might we use this emerging technology that has been used not to conquer, but been used to how might we use our earth sciences and dig deep into particularly our tile, particularly climate change adaptation, and how might that innovation inform us to make the right decisions for the future. So highly aspiration. It's a nascent sector. It's growing. I was amazed at the acceleration of innovation sitting in that sector. And for those who grew up on Star Trek, when Kirk asks for Scotty for give me more power, that power's coming through. So that's the two things I wanted to upload, just to give us a context of those things that are important to us in this room. So other announcements?
Ai mihi nui ana ki a koe e te hingana ki a tata katoa, ko huhu tahi mai no te mihi o te Kuaka. On the weekend, I went back home to Mitimiti and we had the unveiling of a new ka tuahaua for our marae at Mātihetihe. And Mitimiti was a real beautiful occasion to head home for that alongside Councillor Rakina. So it was a celebration for our hapu, te taumaui e te hoko keha in Mitimiti. And what I really appreciated about going back home was in our sayings, we have that one that between kupe and nukutawhiti, e tu te huru mā haramai e noho, e tu te huru pango hana tu e haere. All you with fairer hair, come and sit down, and if your hair is dark and vibrant, get up and go. The chair of our marae committee is my cousin Kyla Campbell Kamariera, and she's only in her late 20s. We've just had a new treasurer come on board, one of my old schoolmates who I didn't even know was from Mitimiti as well. What did we read? He'll be only 34. So there's some real young guns coming through and actioning those aspirations of our people back home, which was really awesome to see. From there, we headed over to the hapu lands of Te Kai Tūtai, Te Wairiki, and Ngāti Manawa in Pangaru, and had the opening of the recommissioning, I think of what it was called, of the wharekai, following 4 years of refurbishments. So Waipuna Marae, which is the first marae as you enter the Hakarapa Valley in Pangaru, is the largest in North Hokianga, and it's been closed for 4 years because the wharekai needed a brand new roof and everything else in between. So it was a beautiful occasion and celebration for Pangaru, but also the Hokianga, with the opening of that wharekai back up. So there was a lot of acknowledgements of the surrounding marae for having to open their doors with that marae out of commission for 4 whole years. So it was a real celebration for Te Rarawa. On Sunday, we travelled over to Ahipara and had the ceremony with the blessing of the new Pou Whenua with ancestor Tuakai as a kaitiaki for the land at Māori Waihe, which will become a new council reserve. So we found a solution there. But it was a real weekend of celebration for Te Rarawa Kaiwhare. It's many hapu, so I thought I would share that at this table.
Awesome. Bye.
Kia ora tātou, nā mihi kua kinga kia koutou kua mihi mui a hau. Mihi ki ngā manuhiri, nau mai haere mai ngā mima o te tii marae ki Waitangi. He pai te kete a koutou tēnei marama o Hepetema. E whā marama I mua te tāinga mai o te motu ki tō kāinga. Just kei au e tahi pāmi mati, I mua ngā pāmi mati I te tuatahi. He nau te mihi atu ki ngā whānau mai tērā hui I te marama o Hune, kia Ted Watts no Otamatia, ko Bella Leaf no Whangapi, ko Vanessa Smith no Manukau, kia Manimane Hinari no Whangapi, kia Winiata Brown, mai Te Cult, Joe Cody, Dave Ruru, mai Tokomaru, he mema I rongi te hikoi whenua o Whititikau Mārima, Ka mihi hoki atu ki te kia kingi tu heitia, me tana ārakitanga, ki tō mātou tino tangata wiro ki te kaunihera ngā wā katoa ko Steve Mahoney, I takoto ana ki rongi te whenua o ngā kahu. I tēnei wā ko ngā mate kei muia tātou ko Bert Henry, I te marae o Ngai Takoto I Waimanoni, te kuia Jude Cooper, mai wāni Waititi hoki mai ana ki te kāinga ki Aotearoa, te kāni māma o Tāmati, me tō tātou korokia Cyril Tainui Chapman, kuia te tino toa o Tautoko FM, Tautoko for Māori. No reira, ka mihi atu. Moetahi hi ana te haere ki tana tangi, tūtaki ki waha o te marae o manga muka, te haurua mai te toru, te rānei, I o te omori whenua haere ana taua taimara. Just mihi atu ki tēnei komiti ki tēnei kaunihira ki ngā kaimahi katoa, the rating team, kei konei te rating team, a kawati tō mātou kaiwhaka Māori I ngā kōrero katoa. I roti tō mātou kohangari o rangaunu, e rua nā mokopana I roto. Ko kawati tētahi, ko taonui tētahi atu. So koinei ngā rangatira I roto I ngā kohangari o. So no pareira. Ka mihi atu ki ngā kaimahi katoa ki tō mātou CEO, e huri haere ki te heku I tērā wiki ko te mea nui kia au I roti tēnei kaunihira kia tūtuki etahi o ngā hua. So, hari koa mo te pōti mo ngā wāri Māori, the North Hokianga Roading Group, a koutou o Waitangi, I te hiko I tēnei tau ka tua mina pomare ki te whare rūnanga e mea atu. Poko whakatika atu rori o Pangaru, mai taua wiro. Kua te mata tēnei komiti whakapai ngā rori o te raki o Hokianga no reira. Ka mihi atu ki tērā rōpū ko Tāmati te he mana o tērā. Hari kōna nahi I te rā tapu mo Moringahi. Ka hoki tērā whenua ki ngā hapu o Ahipara, hei Historic Reserve, and ati wā pē ka huri tērā hei Māori Reserve. Mihi atu hoki ki te araki nui hou o te kingitanga kia nā wai hono I te pō. So e rua nā wai ne rangatahi I roto tainui, hei māngai mō tainui waka. Ko nā wai hono I te pō ki te whenua, me hana
Rafiti Maipi Clark.
Rafiti Maipi Clark, te mokopuna o Timi Rau ko Rāmari, he memo o nā tamato o mua. And he mema hau o te onirua tohi.
Mai haura,
Ai,
Mohana,
ai, kei tau
rahi
whaki.
noi a ka haka whiwhi ki te tohu Politician of the Year. Nā kutana ingoa I tono ana I waihua, o reira, me haka nui I aia. I haere ki kānata ki te tiki I tana tohu.
Raui. Aira. And mo te komiti te onirua tohi, just mohi atu ki te kaiwhakahaere a Dolly, tēnā pē ka hau mai he hūrongo ia hui mo taua komiti. And te mea nui tatari ana, kia ora, CEO, kia haina tia te rihi mo te wāhi ririrangi o Kaitaia, tēnā pia te wiki kei te hara mai, no reira ka hari ko ngā iwi o Māori whenua mena. If we achieve that lease for Kaitaia Airport, you'll make the people of Māori whenua very happy. And I'm talking, when I say Māori whenua, Māori me ngā Pākehā e etahi atu. So, nā mihi. So, hoi nāno āku, mihi atu kia tātou katoa. Tautoko hoki ngā mahi e mahi anei e kōrua e kahika me te kōwhai, tino puku mahi kōru i ngā wā katoa. And ki ngā kai kaunihira hoki nā mihi. E kona e mahi ana ngā mea rori. John mo ngā economic development and me bai mo the kaupapa maha. But under these other ingoa, but really he's a hāpui plant. Ki roti te kaunihira. Nō reira, ka mihira ki ka kāpapa. Kia ora. Wena no aku.
Kia ora.
Yeah, I've got something to add as well. Just acknowledge, Hilda, thank you for just reminding us of all of that past. Great things that have been done by those people like Cyril Chapman and others in this. Just acknowledging you, Chair, that only on that hard work getting the strategy through. So we important. So thank you to those that did that. And that's in terms of the economic vision or strategy for the whole of the North. It's worth reading, and now Chair Neil to chair that group at the table, finally been endorsed by this council. So thank you.
Just building on that what John's raised, as we're starting to get some bigger conversations that we would normally not get around economic opportunities. So I've got a meeting with Transpower coming up, and they will need to learn, in my view, what investment in the province is required to lift our expectation and aspirations. So as you can see, they're catalysts for conversations and relationships, really. So any other additionality? Anything from you?
Oh, yes, okay. Kia ora. Firstly, I just want to mahi tū whai Hilda for her comprehensive kainihira reports that she does. And I acknowledged in our last council meeting, Councillor Rakina as well, for the detail. Both of them the detail that they provide in their reports helps me recall how busy it's been and what we actually did in some of the hui that we've had. But I also wanted to just update people on the Cyclone Gabriel recovery efforts. We are in the process of writing our exit strategy from that phase, and some of you will have seen the recovery reports come out, nice glossy documents. The exit strategy is just going to be one page. It won't be pretty. It's just, yeah, what's next, and we've already accomplished a lot. And hopefully we are set for any other extreme weather events or whatever disasters come our way, working together with Iwi Hapu.
Just as an aside, I read the report. I thought it was an exceptional report in terms of saying what it is, what did we learn, and how might we use it going forward. So, Kelly, well done for your leadership.
All of us.
Your picture was on the front. Okay, any other thoughts? If I'll just add, I heard Anne's voice on the radio this articulated around the tourism investment levy coming through, and she was very clear around the symmetry that's required where ratepayers who are footing infrastructure investment will need to be more than that. So there's a lot of response, particularly when you hear our community speaking for us. So that's nice. So talking about relationships and building understanding, can I hand the meeting over to our delegation? And our role is to use our whakapapa through our whenua connections to amplify those aspirations that all our iwi hapa are. So we're all yours. We're looking forward to hearing what's coming from your point.
Yeah, sort of, thank you for the invitation. We are from Waitangi. We've come to take over. That's all over there. Just make sure that their lantern, that's all we want for now. Save the rest for later. But got a presentation for you to run through. Me pēnea ke rā te kōrero, pauero te maunga, o whare te roto Waitangi te awa, whiwhairangi te moana, Ngāti Kawa, Ngāti Rāhiri, te matarauhirau, oku hapu, ko te tiriti o Waitangi, te whare tupuna. Reira, mihi ana kia koutou, kia koe kawati mo te karakia tēnei ata, kia koe babe mo tō mihi whakatau, me ngā te kahi ka moko, taitu rā, ki tō tātou nei kahaka haere tēnei rā, kumiti o te Kuaka, he mihi nui tēnei kia koutou katoa. Just i ronga hau, te rārangi o ngā hunga mate, rātou ko weihatu ki te pō, me tāpiri ake au, wetai o te kāinga, ko rena tā tane tērā, hinga atu rā i tērā wiki, pai anō ia tā hoki atu ki te rua koi o na mātou tūpuna, ki roto oro mahui, pērea mihi kawana ki tō kau mātua o hiro. Tētai anō tēnei rā ko moana apiata, e whanaunga o te kāinga. Nō reira, iana ki a rātou katoa, te honga mate koutou haere atu ki Waikinu, Waikiroa, Hawaii Pānga, ere e moe. Yeah, so just come back to us who are gathered here today. Just appreciate being invited. We hana kia koe, Scott, for your opening the door for us to come in and share our kōrero from our marae. So just a quick introduction for those who don't know me. My name is Ngāti Kawa. I've been the chairman at Waitangi Marae since 2015. There's 9 years. You probably don't hear me too often because we've got a pretty, we've got our taumata who does all the talking. I'm just in the background. But I've been involved in the Waitangi commemorations since 2010. Every year been representing our marae, coordinating our side of the bridge. And very fortunate today to have our these whanaungas, rangi, and Mary here come to assist and to be a part of our team. It's not just me, obviously we've got all our trustees at the marae, and we've got people playing roles to help us move forward. So that's just a quick introduction, and just with our presentation today, just want to run through that quickly. I know you're all busy, so don't want to take up too much of your time. I was hoping to get through this in 10 minutes and give 5 minutes if anyone's got any questions, anything you want to ask while we're here. But yeah, we'll just get straight into it. So here we go. This is actually a presentation we've designed. It's actually for, you can see TPK and the Ministry of Cultural Heritage, but I think it's anyone can get to see what we're up to, what we're planning for the next Waitangi week. So yeah, this page here, it's just mainly for those who don't know what Waitangi week is all about, all the activities and stuff. You guys have probably been there, being locals here in the north, so don't have to go too much detail. But one of the main things we're promoting this round is the 3rd of February, which is where we'll be reopening our whare tupuna. So we've done some major construction. We haven't had investment in our facility since the Queen turned up in 1990. So this is actually, we're trying to refresh. If you know what the whare used to look like when you go in, used to have big cracks in the walls. So we've had to put some steel beams in to hold the structure together. It should last even if we have an earthquake and coastal erosion and all that stuff. This building should still be standing if any of that stuff happens. So done some major work on it. Even this front piece has been redesigned, the porch area. So
Yeah, yep, so everything's had a refresh and we're getting ready to open it up on the 3rd of Feb. So that's the big event we're hosting. Yep, but we'll keep going through to the actual itinerary. So as you see, we'll gather at Taurangatira, you know where those carvings are on the waterfront. It's the significant site where our tupuna gathered to sign the whakaputanga and they gathered to discuss and make the decisions there in 1835 and 1840. And many of us are all, descendants of those. I'm a descendant of Te Kemara, Māori who signed he whakaputanga in Te Tiriti, and Honeheke was also there on our behalf. I'm a brother of his, descendant of Honeheke's brother, Peia. So many of our ancestors have some big connections to this site here. But that's where we decided to start it off for the morning, 4 a.m, park up, assemble, and then get some fires going to keep people warm while they're waiting. And then karakia starts from Taurangatira, go all the way down to the Ātia at Whare. And have all our tohunga to do all that for us. And then when we get closer, we'll turn the lights on and reveal all the restoration and all the mahi that's been done. There was a lot of protocol and ritual ceremony around that. Outline a bit more of the detail. We were still in wānanga mode to actually make some decisions, especially around photos and where they go and when they turn up. So, but this is the general outline of what we're going to be doing, and yeah, passing it on to our taumata to do all the formal stuff, mihi, welcoming, whai kororo, and hopefully a lot of waiata to celebrate the occasion, because it's actually, our whare is actually 100 years old. It's actually 101 now. So yeah, that's what pushed us to get the building restored. So it's a huge milestone. So we want to definitely celebrate the day. We're expecting around 10,000 people to come. So we're preparing for, a whole lot of people coming from all around the motu. 8:30 a.m, once we finish all the kororo, we've got Willie Apiata, VC, and our auntie Ani, who's turning 90 this year. She's one of our senior members of our hapu. So she agreed to be one of our officials, unveiling some of the stones that are going to be put in place. There's one new one and actually 2 new stones that will be unveiled. There'll be a bit of reading to go with that. And we want all our mokopuna to witness the historic occasion. And yep, then we'll finish with all the whakanoa and the water cleansing, and then have a pai after that. Then a bit of a whānau day, whānau fun for the tamariki and families who turn up, just trying to keep them all occupied, I guess, and give them something to do while we're all together. Yeah, so some music, concerts and haikas and all that for the day. And in the evening, planning to do something similar to what we did for Matariki this year. Yeah, the guy folks costs a lot, so maybe just drones, do a new sort of thing that I've seen around the motu, using drones to do a light and sound storytelling action. So yeah, that's in the hot limit. It's all pending funding. Yep, just touch on this quickly. So after the 3rd, that's the day that we're focusing on, and then the 4th, 5th, and 6th is when we got the forum tent, which we've renamed Maranga Mai, call for action, and it's just creating a space where everyone can come together. As you know, it's probably been to that before, but wanted to create some meaningful transformation for Aotearoa. No more talk fests. No, we want action. And one now. So you can see our major themes, whakatanga, te tiriti, and we're looking into the future, 2040 coming up. So yeah, and we're sort of wanting to restructure it a bit better. There've been awesome high profile kai kōrero come along, so I think people get a lot out of listening to their kōrero, but for us, we actually want to get something out of it. Like we want to ask them some questions, some relevant questions, all the hot topics that are going through the motu at the moment. So we want to ask people to come and speak to those questions, and give us some advice, make some recommendations, and so we can meet the outcomes of our people. Hopefully the year later, we can actually call them back and see how they went. And give us an update on if they achieved the outcomes. So yeah. All right, in 3 sessions, the morning, lunch and dinner. And, yeah, this is a little bit more, maybe show all of this, just some questions that we're thinking about, what we want to ask them. So, take one, for example, what are the biggest opportunities to grow the $18 billion Māori economy? So that's out in the news at the moment. Tama Pōtaka trying to put some money aside for TPK to grow that to 150 million, I think you said. Yeah, that's a really important topic that people need to know more about. Ministry of Trade, investment in our cultural excellence to thrive, tino ranga, all those big questions that we're still asking at the moment and trying to find solutions for. And if you're interested, yeah, we've got our link. So just let us know if you want to come and be a guest speaker. Trying to line it up by the 1st of November. Yeah. All right. Next one. And this is just the general stuff that's going to be happening on the day, 4th, 5th, and 6th. So we've got some porphyry. We haven't got anyone lined up yet. It's just those are the times we've got so far. Māori markets, the Forum 10. For the kids. In the 6th. We've got our own dawn ceremony at Taurangatira, flag raising, roll call. It's just all those tupuna who have signed the Te Tiriti. We just call out their names and see if they're already present at this ceremony. And then a little bit of a speech to update everyone on where we're at. Whakaputanga in Te Tiriti o Waitau. Then waka parades, Māori markets, maranga mai. The Navy's 21 gun salute, and then we had someone who raised that it's Bob Marley's birthday, 6th of February. So I get some of you to come and do a bit of jamming. Sing some get up, stand up. Yeah. Right. So that's just the general program. Next slide, please. Now this is a new plan that we've come up with, because as you know, Ngāti Kawa Ngāti Rahiri Te Matarahurau, been in the trenches for all these years, pretty much holding the fort and hosting all the multitudes of manuhiri who come. Last year was around 70,000, 80,000 people. So yeah, it's a huge task. We get burdened with the load and all that carrying of the mahi, and we've done really well. However, it's just getting bigger and bigger. It's outgrowing us. So we've been reaching out to all the tai whenua that are out there. Ngāpui's already organised into these groups. So we've decided to give them allocate them a day on the roster. Did you know we haven't asked them yet? Going around the mote around Taitokera as we speak. So if you know anyone who wants to hear the presentation, let us know. We've only covered Whangaroa and Muri Whenua at the moment, which is, yeah, we had a with Pune Harawira last week, and he comes down to Waitangi and we talked a bit more about the details, and yeah, he's put his hand up to help us and be part of Whangaroa and extending that all the way to Muri Whenua. So that day, it's the biggest day for us. So we're feeling pretty relieved that he's come to the table and wants to be part of our committee to help us coordinate all the logistics and getting all the manpower. So yeah, that's a huge kōrero for us, and we're trying to get around to all the others to see who else. Actually, Nere Mangu was there on one of our online sessions, and she put her hand up for Mama Kahia on the 7th. That's my favourite day of the year. It's the 7th of February, and everyone's gone home. Yeah, but there's still a bit of cleaning to do. Finishing it all off. Yeah, and so another big kōrero is in that grey box there. So we are thinking ahead, because we've got some pretty big events that are coming up, 2040, for example. You know, so we want to work towards that, start the ball rolling now, where we're all, as a collective, Ngāpuhi and Hapu and all the different stakeholders, the council and everyone else, that we want to try and work together with. I am working with the Waitangi Treaty Grounds as well, talking with Nicole, Scotland, and we were at our meeting last week. So, yeah, I did tell them that we're going to be here. So, got a few things they wanted me to share. I'll get to that shortly. But yeah, giving everyone a day in moving forward. So there's 2040, 200-year commemoration, 2035, 200 years Whakaputanga, 2034, 200 years of Te Kara, our flag, 2031, which is Patatini. That's on the table at the moment. So those are some pretty big events that are going to happen up here in the north. So yeah, reaching out to see yeah, all the other hapu and all the other tai whenua who want to be sort of get some signals from them now, some commitment to see if they want to join us to be hosts of that. They haven't made up the decision yet whether it's going to be in Whangarei for Matatini or Waitangi. Those are the two. As we have to sort out the accommodation side of things. I was talking to Bill in the ward, actually, we came up with a good idea. Maybe we want to hire out that cruise ship that's got space for 4,000 people and park it out in the bay. So just trying to work on that at the moment. Got 7 years to get it organised. But yep, and that's the last thing. So next one, this is the important one, is yeah, we've got a team of us. So I'm coordinating the program for Waitangi Week. And also I've been in charge of this side of the funding and securing the resources, you know, forever. So that's where I want to direct everyone's attention. We haven't really got anything in the bank account for this event yet, but we've got a wish list, and here it is. Yeah, 270K. Sort of yeah, the estimate we've got so far. Source of funds, yep, talking with TPK and Ministry of Cultural Heritage to try and cover off 90K. There is also the Waitangi Day Commemorations Committee, it's chaired by Albert Cash and Wari Kapaura, and they've pretty much been in that position for the last few years. So got to talk with them as well. There's many others, it's not just our marae, there's the Waka crew, there's the Waitangi Day ceremonies, a whole lot of people who are also going for the same sort of funds. Iwi and Hapu, yep, we're looking at some support from them, and that doesn't have to come in the form of money. It can be kumara, it can be potatoes, it can be kaimoana, any sort of kai or resources, makis, and then the philanthropist, yeah, that's a whole lot of other people that we got on the list. And so, yeah, these are some of our expenses that we go through every year. So there's nothing new. There's all the things that we have to cover off. So catering, parties, all that stuff. Kuaka entertainment. We haven't had much of a big budget for that, but it's there. Management, planning, logistics, all that. This is the one that we're hoping to talk to you guys more about. The emergency services, security buses, parking warden, portaloo, refuse, and traffic management. So yeah, that's all the stuff that happens around us. And just also to sort of fill you in, we've had because you know the traffic was terrible last year. It took people 3 to 4 hours just to get into Waitangi. So we're trying to be a bit more innovative in using the bus services. So like you go down to Tainui, that's what they do. Bus you into the bus. You park outside of town. So hopefully Kuaka, rugby field or somewhere like that. Kaikohe, somewhere over here in Kirikiri. So they can all park on the outskirts and then jump on a bus, get into town a bit quicker or to the event. So that's sort of the general plan to relieve some of that pressure on the traffic. And yeah, there's some future things we want to talk about. I heard that new roading committee. If there's one for our area, we'd like to know who to talk to because yeah, 2040, that's the goal, you know, to be ready for that. There'll be 1,000 people turning up. So even looking at how can we get the back road from Haururu sealed all the way into Waitangi, that might help us. as well. Yeah, but got some, and yeah, got some things we need to talk about there. Yeah, and one thing, thank you to Scott and the lady who did that report. That we got an economic impact report. We received it, and it says that this event brings in over $100 million for Te Tai Tokerau. So you know, we're talking some big dollars there. And so hopefully that 270K doesn't look like much if you've got 100 million coming into the northern economy. So, yeah, and one day hopefully we can get it on your long-term plan to actually get some proper investment into this. We're dealing with a whole lot of dignitaries, officials, you know, everyone, Māori, iwi, hapu, right through to the foreign overseas. So yeah, this is actually a really big occasion. And yeah, we need to sort of plan it out a bit better in the future. So, yep. And so, and just some outcomes we're looking for. Obviously, we want to celebrate in style, and we've been doing that. You know, last year was just a really good example. Yeah, it was improved, getting the world's attention, and showing them that we're the global leaders in race relations. Lifting the Māori as the hosts, yeah, claiming our cultural identity, ensuring our youth know these stories around here. We're going to be the next ones to take up the mantle. Wanted to get a really good idea on what that's all about. And that's an opportunity because of all the stereotypes out there. You know, we want to ensure that we're getting lots of tauiwi turning up, and you know, tangata tiriti, we're aligning what we're all about, but there's a lot out there who don't know, so we want to just take the opportunity to have a bit of positive influence on some of the Pākehā perceptions of Māori there. And this, see that, it's a Hakari stage on that picture there. So that was put up in Puriraraka in the 1850s. That's about 100 metres long and 3 stories high, and it was full of kai. All the rangatira came and contributed to the kaupapa. And so we're going to give this a go on a small scale and see who wants to contribute kai to the kaupapa. Now, everyone talks about the tiriti as being important, but what do they actually contribute to the kaupapa? And so if it's really important, we'll see something turn up to the day. Yeah, okay, and that's pretty much the last slide. Just get in touch with us if you want to know anything else and want to help. There's a registration of interest for those who want to be part of our. So yeah, it's pretty much all I've got for now. Anyone got any questions?
Questions? I don't have, I just wanted to sort of indicate that the kaikohe takiwa have their week on the 3rd Tuesday of the month, and the next one is in October. So I can make contact with the takiwa secretary to send an invite to. The second one, I don't know, I was looking around to see who attended Bob Marley's concert when he was in New Zealand. I certainly did, because we made the rugby games come early in the Bay of Islands to allow the more talented players to go down and be part of the concert. It was fantastic. So for that one, do we have to book our band or interest to come in?
Yeah. Well, Rangi's part of the forum team, the independent side of things. So yeah, just get in touch with us, and she'll be the one to help organise if you're interested. Oh, let's grab some dreads.
I'll let them come in.
Kia ora nā te kaua ngā mihi moto haupapa te ata nei, and I know that in council we've got Lani and Scott who are in regular communication with the organising committee, and te tika ana o kōrero he rā nui. It's not just kiau e orana te tiriti ia rā, kaore i rā noiho, engari, o koutou ngā mea e kawe ana te motu aua rā, no reira, ngā mihi kia koutou, and I know after this year we had some evaluation input, and hopefully that working group will continue to represent our us and you for the one coming up. And I know you guys have got a iwi hosts,
Yeah,
a iwi forum up there around the same time.
yeah,
And anyhow, so we're interested, we have a vested interest to hope as a Māori that it goes off well, because with all the numbers going into Waitangi, we're going to have to utilise all the spaces, you know, whether it's up the top, on the sports ground, at the marae, and other places, I know. Because I know we had one group to get to the karakia, the dawn karakia, they knew they could get there on time if they caught the ferry from Opua. But, you know, not everyone can get, and they're interested in roading issues for transport. So he pai tērā, and ngā mihi mō tērā, and we'll leave it with Lani and Scott to keep our represent us. Ka pai e korua no tāurangi, no.
Just for te rori, you know, I te taha o te marae, e tino wāhi, ua tēnā nui ngā waka, e Taiwani wainganui I ngā tangata. So it's a health and safety issue that really needs to be looked at and considered, because we have all sorts of other activities that have been allowed to happen in that same area, which has blocked the access. And the marae trustees don't have any say over that.
Are you saying the council does have say over, are we talking about which area?
Area by the shippies.
The reserve.
That whole area should be freed up so that it's, you know, the rounding of the traffic around there, and because people are walking through there, there are heaps of people.
So, by Hera, I guess it's for Scott, because I don't know if there's anyone else from district facilities to take back to that team when there's any applications for the use of those reserves. It needs to go to that traffic committee that they set up last week to make sure that, and I know the community boards have the mandate of that, but if that community board report says whether or not they reckon it's a good idea before it's approved.
Wouldn't we defer to the marae, you know, like for those days, 3rd to the 6th of what?
Yeah, but at last week's hui, the organising committee in Ngāti Kawa were part of, they organised a little transport rōpū so that all of the transport issues for that week can be addressed. Yeah.
E pepelda me whakamana mai I te kaunihera mō tērā, ne?
My understanding is e mihi nui ana I tō wahitanga mai ki tēnei kaunihera ki te kōrero mai ki a tēnei kaupapa nui hataara hātau. I know that we've got staff operational representatives in with the organising of this, so we're taking all the learnings from this year. I would expect that. Oh, actually, I think that you updated me last week that you got that we have got transport staff who are getting linked in for this as well. So that's outside of my realm of piece. I don't know that we've got our staff in-house who are speaking with organisers across the board, and that should a decision be made, and I personally think that it's a case of actually closing Waitangi to all vehicles except for emergency services, but that's not for me to say. But that as appropriate will come to us in the form of the road closures that we sign off every year. Waitangi as appropriate, things like that. But it's got so big that if there are huge health and safety concerns with how it's managed and things like that. And so as council, I mean, we just have to wait for the applications to come to us for us to consider and to go through our staff. But I know that we've got staff in the mix at this organising time now. So we'll wait and see what comes through.
So just looking at Scott, has he got some thoughts about, we do this every year. Have we looked at picking up on the learnings and hearing the pain points coming out of there and being there a number of years and walking from parking to events to accommodation is you have to be very, very well organised to get around the place. So any initial thoughts from your corner?
Yeah, through the chair. So obviously with last year and acknowledging that the event has grown and we foresee that it will grow even further. Part of council's commitment is to ensure that with the services and support that we offer, that we're totally in the mix. So I've been to several huis, and what we've done is organised a operational team internally that's got comms, it's got the traffic management people, it's got the people who look after the reserves and booking. What I'm doing is coordinating to ensure that at the huis that happen with Ngāti Kawa and Waitangi Trust is that we're represented there, just to make sure that we can facilitate what council needs to do to deliver on those. Top priority based on feedback from last year is health and safety. So we have a transport one happening this Friday, where we will have our transport people there. We will not book any reserves until we're aware of what that transport management plan looks like, because that will impact potentially they overlap, right? So I think the key is we're planning. What I will do for this committee was that provide a briefing report at the next step.
That would be great.
Just to give you a view of exactly what council's involved in.
Awesome.
And obviously the normal services and consents that come through will come through council, like
So what I'm really hearing is kapai for that we need, if anybody asks for the reserve, to use the reserve for those days, needs to be endorsed by the Marae committee.
Please.
Awesome.
Not just somebody who's from Waitangi.
It says there from Waitangi.
Exactly. Kapai.
We've just got a question from Steve on board. Steve, you've got your hand up.
There's quite a, sorry, apologies for not being there. I'm recovering. I hope I'm recovering anyway. Quite a few questions there relating to the road upgrades, and I'd recommend really that if you want the Haruru Falls Road upgraded, you need to get a proposal into the council long-term plan so it can be escalated up to the regional, Northern Regional, and then the National Land Transport Plan. At the moment, it's not, I don't think it's even on the agenda or in the priority schedule. Guy or Rob may be able to help, but that would assist. As far as emergency access and things like that, Kelly and I have spoken briefly, or may have texted, I'm not sure. Need to work on getting a connection either through the Waitangi Forest Road network for ambulances and so on, or through the farm track, which runs off the end of Wakeland Road through to Haruru Falls Road. We can look at that, but we need assistance from both. Sorry, I've forgotten your name. The gentleman that's presented today, that was great. Thank you. And also this committee, please.
Thanks, Steve. Noted. Okay, so not to diminish your kaupapa, because we want to get some arms around it. There's lots of activity happening in that week, and how might we lean in, but create enough air for each kaupapa to have its meaningful appropriation application. Lisa, can I get you, from an iwi Chairs point of view, Te Rāroa are hosting iwi Chairs this year, so we can get a sense of the book ends. So we're not talking about February 6th, even though that's Emancipation Day. I use the word wrong, but it's going to do this. There's a whole piece of work working up to it. So, Lisa, you're able to, as hosts for iwi chairs, give everyone a sense of what days we will be there and what our contribution will be as part of that sort of the epicenter of our current nationhood kaupapa.
You're muted.
Kia ora, ngā mihi atu ki a koutou katoa I tēnei ata, ngā rangatira o te rohe nei, ngā mihi atu. Ai he tautoko ngā mihi, kua mihia ki ngā mate tuatini o tēnā marae o tēnā marae, e maumahara te rangatira Cyril, me Bert, e takatoa ana I raro a rātou tuanui, nō reira, haere ngā mate, haere atu rā. Ai, ka hori ki a koutou I te whakautu tēnā pātai, mai te rārua mo te e arahi te iwi chairs tērā tau ki Waitangi. The planning is still happening, as a number of you may be aware, but yes, Te Rārua is hosting the Iwi Chairs Forum next year. The dates, as far as I'm aware, are as the normal dates, 31st of January through to the 6th of February, and that's more around the asset holding components that happen to for the iwi as well. They're attached to the front end of the iwi chairs hui. What the detail looks like, or the content, as far as I'm aware, Harry, those details are still being worked on, as well as what tahua is being run on each day. I do know that negotiations to get Waipapa, is that the big building alongside the river there, that's been underway because it had been previously booked. So there's still a number of planning issues that are being dealt with for the delivery of and hosting of the Iwi Chairs Forum.
Okay. So if you've got a bookend with 31st, 1st, 2nd, where iwi chairs coming in, then you've got your kaupapa, which we all fully support. And then we've got the Waitangi Trust, with Ben and their corner doing that. And there'll be a whole lot of initiatives played through, particularly like housing, all that stuff like that. The bit I was trying to articulate is we haven't been good at talking to each other about these opportunities. And we've noticed that some of our manahiri outside tautokera's say you guys don't leverage well. So what I'm encouraging you, all of us to do is talk to each other and just find that clear area where we can lift those kaupapa together. But coming back to your corridor that you brought today, you've provided a wide ask, or wide indication of what your ask could be. Is there any specifically you want this committee to address today? We acknowledge what you're saying and we fully support it. So this is the next step. How do we help?
Lisa, can I ask a question? As you know, the 3rd of February is the reopening of our wharehui, and so what we've tried to do is to ensure that there are not other big activities happening at the same time, so that we have everybody attending our hui. So I guess this is a tono to you for the iwi chairs to paramai no mai.
Don't have anything else competing with the program.
Yeah.
I will, what I failed to, as part of my introduction, is that I'm here as a surrogate, no, that's not the right word, for Katie, our chair. So I will absolutely take that back to Te Arawa, to the chair and CEO, that organising committee, around the request to ensure that there's no competing activities on the 3rd of February.
Just back to the apartheid there, I guess in terms of the next steps, we've just started from sharing this presentation with everybody over the last few weeks. So we've got until the 1st of November to try and get as many opportunities we can to present to either the iwi, the hapu, taiwhenua, takiwas. We've still got to go to the runanga, that's the next on the agenda as well. But if you know anyone else who wants to see the presentation, just give us a buzz and yeah, we'll get into it. But other than that, thank you very much for giving us your time, some attention to this big kaupapa. We really are reaching out as much as possible for some support. As I mentioned, with that in terms of anything. There's a whole lot of movement out there. People are talking about this, and so we want to create the best space we can for everyone to come and be safe. That's the main thing as well. So yeah, any support we appreciate it. So good luck.
Okay, can I just build on 3 things? What we've noticed in the past is at that pinch point, all infrastructure gets constrained. Yeah, so we need conversations with Air New Zealand to make sure flights are appropriate, and we know we've got accommodation capacity, everybody rushing in. So those infrastructure notions, we need to be dealing with them to make the experience for our manahiri coming in and ourselves to be safe and enjoyable. And the other bit is from a iwi chair's point of view, we spend a lot of time with the police, because the police, I'm not going to use the word anxious, conscious of that being a pinch point for our tino rangatiratanga. So that liaison between the police and iwi chairs and yourselves, which I'm assuming that Ricky and his team have got a good connection with that, are really critical to that infrastructure capacity and capability. And then the last bit is, just looking at your corner, I'm going to say this mischievously, you've probably got a slush fund you can contribute to this corner. So whatever you can contribute in terms of an event, that I keep coming back to this notion is Waitangi in February the 6th is the epicentre of our current, and iwi chairs come in and we significantly invest because we think it's important. We bring lots of resources in. We leave again, which leaves the hokainga to deal with the shadow of all that quarter. So all I'm doing is encouraging for those who can contribute. It's this contribute. It was a judicious ask.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts, questions?
No, I didn't want to put too much pressure on. I'll find your number somehow. We have a private chat.
Mr. Chair, we have put operational funding aside for specific to Waitangi in our long-term plan that sits within operational budgets. And what we've got with it operationalised with staff for the next Waitangi is that they can look, okay, what are some of the costs associated with Waitangi that we as a council can just cut across maybe our main contract holders or across like portaloos, rubbish and recycling, traffic management. So there are some things that we could perhaps maybe absorb the costs of, but we also do have some funding set aside. So Scott, Lani, deeply involved with the organising committee with Alvima. Now that you've got that link in there too, it's how best we can appropriately support as the Far North District Council. And what is the biggest week for our district every single week.
And the other bit is, I want to encourage the Far North District Council to use unique value proposition. So that that presence, you know, the fact that it's led by us, it's populated by us, and we understand the kaupapa, you know, that visibility of that kaupapa being lifted works well for this organisation as well as Iwi and Hapu and Whānau. So again, leaning in to create that legacy. Okay, so kia ora. Thank you very much for your presentation. At one level, I admire what you're doing. At another level, it was making me exhausted looking at it. So giving you all the energy that requires you to carry this.
Thanks for that.
All right, well,
Kia ora.
kia ora.
So, sit down. Amihi.
Okay, next.
So let's just quickly move through the formal items in front of us. So 4.1, confirmation of previous minutes. That Te Kuaka Te Ao Māori for 33 minutes of the meeting held 27 June. Good brief representation. Someone move, please. Thanks, Kelly. Second. Thanks, Babe. Any recorded or reference? All in favour?
Aye.
Those who don't want to be here. 5.1. The Te Reo economic policy. That Te Kuaka Te Ao Māori Committee is enforcement. Te Reo economic policy. When we spoke, so this is an internal document. It's the heartbeat or the culture of the organisation within. It's got people who are passionate about it and they own it, and every now and then they respond to hard questions. But my personal sense, it's getting the traction it deserves. So well done to that corner. Pushing hard on those things that are us. So
I'll move the motion.
okay. So it's moved by Hilda. Someone seconded. John.
Yeah.
Just watch the screen. Any corridor around that particular resolution? On that basis, all in favour of moving the resolution? Against? So, I like this. 5.2, the tie-up update. That Te Kuaka Te Ao Māori, the tie-up or update. It's seek to maintain sports development specifically with business to support the Kaupapa socialising, environmental management plans and treaty settlement. So we've got the resolution there. That little opening corridor I had around the aerospace summit gives us a sense of that. How might we do it at scale and efficiency? There's some amazing technology. We're 20 kilometres high, high fidelity, high insight, and the data is user friendly and democratized. So it's no good data holding in one corner. So Paula has provided a report. Any questions around that before I go to moving to resolution.
Just wondering if you want to give us a little brief summary here.
Thank you very much for providing the opportunity. I'll just provide a really brief background. We're lucky enough to have Huhana Linden as our environmental lead for the Kawatongi. She was really instrumental in being quite clear around what engagement looked like for Māori, even up. Also on the southern boundary, our iwi authorities have another relationship with Auckland Council, and through obviously they're pretty flush, aren't they? In comparison to other councils. So they managed to develop this fantastic portal called Te Mātāpuna, which was a GIS electronic version of getting resource consents out in Finland, and for Mana Finland to get that feedback started into the organisation. So Ngāti Wai is also part of that process, so they have a bit of an understanding of what technology is available around how engagement might look like in the RMA resource consent space. Uplifting that back up to us, we know that there are a significant amount of pain points, both for council, but also for our tile practitioners in that RMA resource consent space. We've seen a number of instances over a number of years of what that translates to. And some of it's not necessarily that positive for our relationship with our communities, especially our Māori communities. The essence of this portal is actually two things. One is, so we're developing some technology around to be more efficient about getting resource consents in and out of the process, as well as other attributes for it. But the underlying fundamental component around it is around relationship building. The pain points in the RMA space are the factors that, from our tile practitioners' perspective, there's an issue around what that relationship engagement process looks like. How are the iwi environmental management plans uplifted and dealt with through the internal process? How are treaty settlements and PSGEs, how are their aspirations considered within that planning space? There's a couple of other regular items or updates around MOUs, iwi management plans. It's around trying to socialise those to develop a better relationship. So in the original iwi hapu environmental management plan policy, there was a number of attributes in there around, a register, socialisation of those plans and what that might look like. I'm unaware of whether elected members have a good understanding of what, as an example, Te treaty settlement processes might look like for them outside of the Unga Beach Board Management Plan or Te Social Development Plan. The point I'm trying to make is we need to provide some more spaces to develop those relationships. And it's not just the RMA space, it's also the LGA space. We were hearing from our whanau here around traffic management issues. In some of our iwi environmental management plans, there's significant issues in there around infrastructure that they clearly articulate and identify. Are they able to be picked up and managed through council's asset management planning processes? Is it even considered? How is it considered in part of the reports? In the framing of the LTP F1 2100, there's a whole range of other policy directives, to my mind, that I think lack the ability, the opportunity to uplift some of those aspirations for our iwi hapu. And so this is the basic essence of this. What can Te Kawatongi bring to the table in relate to that space, and how might we help socialise a process to better engage? That's fundamentally deep at the thing. Can you take any questions?
So, sorry, I'm living on my whenua. Somebody wants to come and put a drain or something. How will this portal help?
That's the one part of it is around resource consents and RMA processes. There's also another space in the portal around getting information out to our communities, whether it's part of the LTP processes, whether it's around asset management plans, even you could be looking at drainage or infrastructure provision. It provides the opportunity for that information to come in and out. It doesn't stop council from actually coming out and engaging with its communities. It just opens up that information flow and delivery. So for us, for the Kawatani perspective, we may be able to help provide a little bit more analysis and overview over some of that information coming out to our hapuniwi.
I'm just asking, sorry, you know, when somebody lodges a resource consent, are you saying that if someone in council lodges a resource consent, because one of the issues that Hapuniwi is saying is that, are you asking us at the last minute, we didn't have enough time?
Yes.
Does that mean that resource consent comes up straight away on your portal? Just asking.
Two things, both for that one. Thank you. Good question. We sat down with our tile practitioners and said, what would work for you? What's a better process for you? Two parts of the process, the pre-application process. So before the application is actually launched, we're suggesting there needs to be a better mechanism around providing the opportunity for you to be involved alongside the applicant. Maybe I can spit it around the other way. If council was the resource consent applicant, what type of process would they do? Would they prefer to pre-engage and have that discussion with iwi hapu, or would they lodge and then decide to go out and try and engage? The point I'm trying to make is we put more emphasis around building that relationship at the front end before the application's lodged. It might be a little bit more efficient cost-wise, and it might hopefully stop any type of potential issues or dramas that might pop up. An example might be for those of us that have been around in the business a little bit longer, we know there's a whole range of sites of cultural significance that aren't necessarily identified very well within the council system. But invariably, we know that if you're going to have development in that space, it's going to cause some issues. Now, that might not necessarily be identified with any paperwork, but there needs to be a better relationship so that those type of issues are identified earlier than what we currently have.
Question. The last bit of the recommendation where it says got the whole resolution that the committee received a tile portal update report. It seeks to maintain and support its blah, 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 blah. With council's resource team. Phil, how has it been, you know, up to this point working within operations, you know, to get this portal going, and is there anything you need from council to ensure that the that mahi can get done, and do you have a timeline completion of this?
We're still working through the final bits around timeline and completion. We're also actively in current discussions with Guy and SLT members around. So what does the ongoing opportunity costs and fiscal costs look like for the project? So we're still working through some of those. Access to the staff, we've had great access to the GIS team. Resource consent team, they're different, they're a lot more complex and busier. But the way we're looking to manage that is through a couple of workshops around bringing our practice guidance notes into them to see would this work for you. So that's next bit on our list. We're currently now also working through what the RSC data looks like and how we're going to share that. So yeah, when we may be a little bit behind on schedule, but there's nothing untoward from our perspective. Like I said, we're still having those discussions with Guy and his team.
Okay, right, thank you.
Question, Mr. Chair. You think, Phil, I actually support this. I think having that information there and this is critical. I take the question I have is it's going to be two ways, isn't it? You're going to invite people to respond generally as well as that detail out there. So it's two way. Question, that's a question. And the second thing is with some of that data, having actually looked at something like this in the past, I know how sensitive some of the special areas can be and generally not made public. And And the solution was to identify it as being significant, but not giving the detail. And then that was available to planners as well. So, and a third group, so that would be a good resource to planners to be identified, put up some flags. And the final question would be, where's this data going to be stored and how are you going to manage the access to it?
Sorry, John, what was the last question?
Where's that data going to be stored? And so who holds it and how are you going to access it? Thinking about the spatial aspect of your.
Okay, so the GIS data is council's. So all we're doing is just getting a duplication of that data, and then we're routing it through a portal. So FNDC, the RC data is the scrum. We're just the halfback. We're just throwing the ball in, picking it up, and jamming it back out.
Yep.
The second question was around site significance.
Yep.
I just need to add in here that the proposed district plan is looking to uplift some of those other areas of concern that some have identified. But we're still mindful that we're with the operative district plan at the minute. So we're trying to help future-proof what that might look like getting into the PDP. And the first question was around, sorry, John?
Yeah, it's about the comms aspect of that portal, because what you just described.
Yeah. So for us, it's around, so we'll develop portals for our area authorities. So the data will come out, will then get siphoned out to the area authorities. Sorry, as part of that process, we're also hoping to try and streamline those resource consents so that not everything goes to, say, Ngāti Kuri, because they might not necessarily want to get a resource consent for South Auckland, as an example. So it's looking to better streamline that efficiency of what comes out so you get better feedback coming back. The data is resource consent data coming out, so it's yours. What we'll do is we'll probably attach some information at the back end of that and then send it back to you guys. Okay.
Yeah, good. So that, in other words, we can be better informed and even better informed in terms of policy making as well.
Absolutely. And I think we're all struggling with the statutory timeframes of resource consents. Crikey, it's terrible. Trying to get stuff in and out is terrible. If we can try and tidy up, and we're also looking to develop those templates on our side of the fence. So as an example, John, you know that big flash garage that you're building for the tractor? That might, so it might be a little bit close to the boundary, but it might not necessarily be an issue for us. So we'll just say, yep, no, we don't have an issue with this, but we'll probably put a caveat on it and saying, well, if you're digging up and you come across some taonga, then we'd like those accident discovery protocols to kick in. But for all intents and purposes, if it's a minimal consent, it probably might not trigger an issue for us.
That's good. Thanks, Phil.
Good point. Just coming back to the other side of the portal, which is Sky's, the final district council's interface. If you think of a tool with a journey, that's what we honour with this, and the ability for final district council to articulate its responsibilities, and iwi and hapu reflected in the environmental plans. Just to you, Guy, is it working the way you envisage it to be? It should be seamless, efficient, transparent, all that stuff like that.
I'm still looking at that and bringing myself up to speed, but is this the first time this project's been to Kuaka?
Yes.
Yeah.
So thank you, Phil. Appreciate the update, and I just encourage you to keep the updates coming. Obviously, you know how to coordinate that. This project hit my radar because we had the new local waters done well, communications and the water service delivery plans, and we were told that we could use any surplus better off funding to help pay for water service delivery plans. So I asked for a roundup of what are we spending the federal funding on, and tile portal is one of the projects. So then I started asking questions about that because I just didn't really know about it. So what we've done since then, the project budget is $1.4 million. We started this discussion and reviewing with Phil and his team because my concerns are that I want to know about this project, how it's specified, what the deliverables are, because I want it to be successful. So and so right now we're just going through a process of what's been spent, what have we got there, how much runway have we got, and can we achieve the objectives. So we're just going through that process. What does concern me is that we need to tie that down and have some certainty around it, because as you all know, our LTP is quite tight. We're currently doing our own plan. So I don't see any additional budget for this project if there's overruns.
Okay. There is Martin.
Good to know.
Just wanted to add to that. It's around, and we realise from a Te Kaho perspective that the budget lines are fiscally tough, not only for council but also for our whānau out there, right across the, we get that. And so with that in the back of our mind, we've also tried to be quite clear around and reflective around what that fiscal responsibility might look like moving forward. And so at this particular point in time, the only ongoing costs for council would be what you're currently, if I'm just looking at the resource consent space here, it's no different than what you're currently doing right now. It's just maybe tweaking the system to make it a little bit more efficient around the information coming out and how you might get it coming back in. So from a resource consent perspective, I don't see that as being any more additional costs to BAU. What I am suggesting and identifying within the recommendation is that if we're looking to spend a little bit more time with the resource consents team, then we're going to have to be quite clear around what that looks like and how we manage that, bearing in mind that they've still got their day-to-day job to do. And if we're going to build that relationship and socialise the opportunities around better understanding around iwi environmental management plans and also treaty settlements, there might be a change in venue of what that might look like. So the opportunity cost would be, what might that look like for the resource consent team? Do we have to split them up? And at least we've got bums on seat so that stuff, their mahi is still carrying over. So we can work through those logistics around better socialisation of those plans. And if I just use an example, if we look at Lani's previous paper, you can see in those deliverables, it's really clear around what the implementation plan looks like. It's fair to say that I don't see the same mechanisms for the MOUs or treaty settlements or environmental management plans and what the implementation plan looks like across the organisation. I can't connect the dots. And so I look at that and I go, I think it's an opportunity lost. So if we're talking about efficiencies, especially from a fiscal perspective, the inability of not connecting those dots is a pain point for money budgets. And I think there's an opportunity there for us to better reflect on that.
Cool. So you've sold the promise. He said kia tūpato. Okay. Any other thoughts before we go to accepting the report?
Just very much in support of this and better collaboration every step of the way, and for us to do better in this space so that our time is freed up to do amazing proactive things instead of reacting when we get things wrong. This is a part of it. So thanks to mahi, and let's keep at it.
So on that basis, more core moves that someone second.
No.
Okay. All in favour?
No.
Thanks. So 6.1 Sina, Day in the Sun. In our conversations to support the leadership that boys can taking a precautionary approach to it. So this is the start of the journey. Would that be fair? Oh,
That's what I have an nation for.
Sorry.
Yes, sorry, I apologize. Zena is unwell.
Oh, yeah.
We have had to push her out the door so that she wasn't going to be sharing any of the germs with any of us. It was rather unwell.
Connect mine.
Yeah.
Apologies for thinking you're Zena. So the resolution we got here is that Te Kuaka Māori Committee received a report from Māori to hold land rating relief. So with that, for emphasis, I said at the beginning, is there anything else you want to add to the court?
Yes. So it's been, since our last report, we weren't able to have the Te Kuaka committee meeting. We were to, and it's moved. So we wanted to give you a bit more of an update because quite a few things have indeed happened. And we're more or less coming towards what I would say is the exciting stage of where we need to be. There's a few things that haven't gone as well as we thought they were going to. So there've been some items that are out of our control in terms of geospatial mapping. There've been some file corruption issues, and unfortunately the gentleman in Canada who is meant to do the mapping has been rather unwell. But we've got a new plan in place, and we really hope that within the next 2 to 4 weeks we should have all that reporting in place. We can very quickly start working our way through the numbers. But we have done some manual reviews, which is a lot more manual intensive. But out of the 2,500 unused properties that we identified at the start of the working group, we have reviewed 10% of those. We have, so out of the 154 properties, we have now written off 596,000 plus in arrears. We've got 12 that we need some confirmation on, so that's where we'll be using our new application forms for the owners to tell us and confirm that they're unused. Got another 96 properties that we're just doing some peer checking, so we're expecting some more write-offs. And we have thus far in this rating year written off nearly 30,000 for CE write-offs. So we're starting to make a big chunk. We've done some more training. We've trialed a training session with front counter staff. So explaining about whenua Māori, helping them understand about rating, what options are available, so that they can become part of that solution as well. And when we have whenua Māori owners coming to council, they can help them. We have we've got a date penciled in to do the external trial workshop. So where we're going to get 20 people coming into council who will be sharing their presentation with them. One of this a council one, the clinical free one, and the mainland report, to get their feedback. Get their feedback on what works, what doesn't, what kind of information would they want to see, just so that we are ready for when we do go to the marae and start speaking to people. And on that, so we had a separate hui with some of our elected members on the 10th of October, which was fantastic, and thank you for your time on that. We got some really good takeaways. I think one of the positive ones I think we thought was around, there was mention that when we do go to the marae, there probably will be some other hot topics that people want to discuss, and not just about rates. And so the decision was, let's focus on what we are trying to achieve here with the working group, but we will make note of what other hot topics people bring up. And our Chief Executive Guy has agreed that anything else that comes to the fore that we feel we need to go back for, she's happy for us to use what we're doing now as a template, so that we can go back to the community and start discussing those hot topics. So be it infrastructure, be it whatever that might be. So I think that's a really positive thing that is coming out of this specific working group. And we've been in contact with some marae, they're starting booking some dates. So we should have some more information next week. We really want to get going on those in November. one option is that we might be able to have another hui, maybe an interim hui between this and the next Te Kuaka meeting, just to update you on where we are with that.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if we're going to hit the road in November, we hope that you will be able to be a part of that as well. Then we need to update you before the next Te Kuaka. That's where we're at. Any questions?
Any questions? Margaret? Happy questions.
Oh, happy questions. What's that thing called? That geospatial mapping
Yes.
thing, and the data corruption issue. What's been done to make sure that that doesn't happen in the future?
This is basically a first download of all our data, and they're really learning from how that is working. Thomas, I think once they've built it, they're confident that that data exchange will keep working fine. They're just sort of working out the differences. Now, to be honest, the data corruption, file corruption was only a small part of it. It's the unfortunate that this gentleman has been rather unwell and still is rather unwell. But we are able to find, so that the data corruption is a small part of the challenge. Once we've got that running, that's going to make a massive difference for us.
Okay. Right. And also, does your department, or through Guy, is there a outcome measurement, or what is the key performance measure that we're looking at for this tranche of work? I know the request has come from elected members in this committee to deal with this big issue that's been going since that legislation change. And but what is is there a key target that you're looking at with this?
Through the chair, that's a very good question. Thank you, Kelly, because we're constantly talking about performance metrics at the moment. I don't recall actually having a specific discussion on performance metrics for this project, but I'm guessing it's like we have a target in terms of the rates arrears and investigating those, setting up the process to begin the CEO write-offs, etc. But I'm pretty sure Charlie Billington has a thought on that for us.
Thanks, Guy. There are a couple of metrics that we'll be observing as we go through. So initially, it's making sure that we have all of the arrears balances that are listed in our debtor schedule addressed, and we understand properly what's happening through the properties. So there's a significant sort of balance that has accrued over a number of years since the exercise was done previously. We just don't have the information or the engagement to actually understand what makes that number up. So as opposed to just putting a pen through it and letting it build up again and being in the same situation in a couple of years' time. It is, yep. We're working through methodically to understand what's in there. By using maps, we can fast track that process, and then we can make sure that the information that's within there is current. As it goes into BAU, we refresh it every year. We've got training within the organisation. We've got points that the community can get in touch with us. Hopefully we get some subject matter experts in the community, and we have all of those sort of like levers that people can pull to make sure that they're aware if something changes with their use or they want to get some information, they have at least a communication point. We can stay up to date. We can offer good advice as to what their options are and what the rating applications are, and just continue that journey so it kind of gets embedded in the fabric of what we're doing around the legislation and around our policies. So a long way of sort of describing it's the arrears balances, and it's our better understanding of,
I think one thing that's come up at the council table on whenua Māori and unused land is it's what is the word you've used before, Kahika? Monopoly money or something? It's
Ghost money.
Ghost money, yeah, so, you know, I think.
Because for 10 years, it just keeps getting added on, but nothing happens with it.
So we use that ghost money as a, you know, as part of what we can borrow or spend. What I would like to see us get towards is reducing that ghost money.
Yeah, because it's a receivable in the books. Yeah, no, I understand that. So, and once again, I don't know, have we got a snapshot on the write-offs I've signed off on so far?
Yeah, it's in the report.
So, but, you know, when we started this discussion, it was very clear that we don't want to have these roller coaster sort of profiles where we ramp, for a few years, we ramp up these huge balances and we then do an uninformed write-off. So I really believe this process we're into is going to solve the problems. And so going forward, once we get into this project, we should have lower arrears and they'll be managed on an ongoing basis.
It's the materiality that you need.
I just want to thank you for this report and the working group and knowing that it's something that was just in the too hard market. And we had an initial write-off that a former GM kind of spearheaded to make happen, but then nothing, you know, and so having a working group, getting a proper process in place means that it doesn't matter, it won't matter who's in the council at a governance or operations level. And we utilising the legislation we have in front of us to have better books at the end of the day, so that we can see write-offs and then have an application form so that it actually becomes non-rated, because it's a landlocked piece of gorse and bloody tobacco weed land that no one's using. But then also incentivise whānau to develop their land with our other policy, which can, you know, like have staggered rating for public kāinga or for horticultural development, so that we do want extra revenue. We flipped $10 million of debt into $10 million of extra revenue. So I thank you for it. Carry on, keep cracking the whip so that it happens as fast as possible. Great to have an application form. And finally, it's my final question when I think about this is, have we reached out to learn from or to offer support now that we've got a really cool flow? The other councils that have large amounts of whenua Māori debt, because they're only, but you know, they're so small, they probably just can walk and talk to the people. But I think from memory, when this legislation first came through, we were by a long mile the highest council with the largest amount of debt. This legislation would be. But then there was Gisborne District Council, Wairua District Council, Rotorua, Pakatane, sort of the Bay of Plenties. So there are other councils out there that are probably been through something similar that they might like to see our templates, or they might have something else on theirs that we could learn from. So.
Yeah, yes. Gisborne have not done anything like this, and they have said, we want to know if this works for you.
Sell them our application templates.
So we can provide this across.
Oh, but thank you. Keep it up.
Kia ora, I'd just like to tautoko the team as well, and I can just feel the relief among so many owners that, you know, when it's sitting there at debt, it sort of depresses you. And so, you know, just imagine that weight off their shoulders, and you know, well, you know, just reading out all the people, you know, Cyril Chapman was a good one for buying back whānau land, you know, and we were saying yesterday, well, now he's a deceased owner of Māori land. I don't know whether it was in general or Māori land, but, you know, when somebody dies and then what happens next, so your records will be great, locked down, and, you know, when other people take over, I can feel the sense of relief. And there's still some more, probably, like I see your little diagram about, you know, you're processing some, and yeah, I just mihi to your team. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll just get support to move the resolution. Someone to move it. Is that you?
Aye.
Second it. Okay. Right. Right. Thank you.
Aye.
Not wanting to put a heebie-jeebie on anything. Marston Tim was on the news yesterday. Undercharging. Undercharging.
Over multiple years.
Yeah, over multiple years.
Slack rates.
So I just need to learn to that because if that comes across the organisation, I'll end up with liability. So, that notion of undercharging, I've never heard of it.
Some people have got additional bills of 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 dollars.
I have not put the EBD on it. Everything's going swimmingly.
You don't want to be massive.
I've never been in the business.
Say that again.
I said I've never been in the business of undercharging.
Like the tax department. No, exactly what.
It would just be.
They need to suck it up and just run it along. What they're doing.
Goods. Okay, 6.2, then to Kuaka Te Ao Māori received. Oh, that's yours. Your group. Anything you want to add to the auditor?
Yes, I do. So I'll just take the paper as read and but I just want to take this opportunity to introduce Kaniwa. Kaniwa very kindly wrote Te Pae Waho for our council. So these are the puka here, which you can look at in your break. And yeah, I just wanted to bring Kaniwa along so you can all meet her and also just to mihi to her for our taonga. These are taonga of our council. We're so lucky to have puka which are now in week 2, so we're already rolling these out. But yeah, I just wanted to bring them along and to mihi to you. And if you want to say anything, kei ahui, however, this is Kaniwa. And these are
Poinoi mihi nui tēnei ki a koe te toahine me te rangatira o tō mahi, hei haka rangatira e ngā kaimahi hāpai o te rangatira. My understanding, as well as like what an awesome resource for us, so that, you know, walking the talk and what does it mean to be, you know, like a fertility-centric organisation. But I understand as well that discussions are underway around how we can actually get this formally recognised through a qualification with Norte Te Pukenga, so that our staff are getting, you know, something to fill their kete with, and how they can, you know, do their roles in the farm district. But also, actually, it meets all of the same requirements that some formal qualification you could get through Te Pukenga could have as well. We have 400 staff members in this organisation. So I understand that there are ongoing conversations with Te Pukenga. You know, his big boss just happens to be someone who sits at this table, Toa Whaneva, so you know that's probably helpful as well. But it's all good. It's so positive. Like this right here, when I was on council only just 5 years ago, I never would have given us Te Ao Māori portfolio and would meet with Te Hono of the day. I'd never dreamed that we'd have something like Te Pae into our Te Ao Māori family. Te Pae o Waho, you know, like tikanga workshops and workbooks for our staff. Ka iri here we just passed, the Te Reo Māori Action Plan. Never would have dreamed that we had been actually sprinting in such a small amount of time. And this is all like, it's not hot stuff because, you know, it's not clickbaity because it's too positive and constructive. But this is like so newsworthy, it's not even funny. This is leading stuff that will be the new norm for every single organisation. Uncle Baby and I are leaving here shortly to go and speak to all of the Kaimahi Māori for Ministry of Education shortly about how they can get ahead within the organisations or what we and this council have been doing. It's amazing stuff. And it's stuff like this, you get all the accolades for, like it was my idea as the mayor, or I drove this. Not at all. It's been, we as governors put into place our strategy and our framework and our policy, and staff, the honour, have taken that on board and said, we're going to do something with it, and actually have. And so it's incredibly refreshing to sit at a governance table and have an organisation that is actually actioning our policies, our frameworks, and all of that sort of stuff that often I sit at this table and think, oh, hey, what are we doing this for? It's going to get put on the shelf. Well, our stuff's not on the shelf at all. It's being actioned and implemented. So mihi nui ana ki a koutou. Keep it up, and yeah, I will continue to take the accolades on your behalf.
Okay, any other thoughts for Lani in that corner? Okay.
I think just to dovetail what tēnā tātou ko Kainua Harrison tōku moku ingoa, i ria hau no te au pauri, no te kao, no te whānau wiki a hau. I think just to dovetail what Moko has said, in terms of these 3 workbooks that I've written, I think the main point is that often Te Reo Māori is considered an academic exercise, but really I think its core function is to just engage and communicate with one another. So that was, with that considered, we developed this content. A lot of it is very northern centric. It is very, tautokero centric, simple, straight to the point, very much like us. So I think, and in terms of an engagement, a community engagement point of view, and with Te Reo Māori, if we consider it's considered to be the window to Te Ao Māori, I think Te Reo Kaina is therefore the front door. And so it's important for our kaimahi here and our elected members to understand Te Reo Kaina, so that our engagement practice is a lot more authentic. And that's pretty much the basis on which this content was created.
I just I'll just add one more mihi. So if you don't, and we haven't met yet, Matt in our comms team, Matt designed all of these ones as well. So he put the content and then he put our te whai with the branding to it. So mihi kia Matt in our comms team. On the back of the report is also te whai waiata. So that is another publication, another kaimahi. I want to mihi to Dina and Te Hono who pulled this together for us. There are waiata in here that all of our kaimahi will know, so that we can all stand and tautoko our kaipōrero. We have developed this alongside Matt as well. There are QR codes in here, so you don't need to carry this into a pōhiri. You can take it home, download the QR codes, and all of our kaimahi will know up to 8 waiata at the end of our journey. So ngā mihi nui kia Dina.
Do we have a publishing contract?
What was really here at King Tu Haitia's tangi was the ability for Tainui to sing together. And unfortunately, in the north, we all got our little tribal bits, or somebody will start a waiata that 90% don't know. And then we revert to the simple one. Something to think about for Waitangi next year. Okay, kia ora. Ngā mihi, te rā pukapuka.
A mover for the resolution, please. Second.
Aye.
All in favour? Staying. Thank you. If we move down to the next 6.3, Anything you want to add to this resolution?
No, just to add that we have Tāna here now and that the Hono are kindly gifting those to Te Kuaka. There's Tāna that sit right in front. We told them to put them. This is a gift to Te Kuaka.
Okay, someone to move this resolution. Hilda, second.
Can I just have a quick corridor on this? Te pai o uta, when I said before about how we are walking the talk, what I am incredibly appreciative of, when we workshopped this, we got a little bit of toto into what it would look like. But like, look on page 60. Like this dashboard here, and I'd love to, you're not just qualifying what we are doing, but you're quantifying it too. And, you know, look at that 147 team goals to walk the talk when it comes to our Te Ao Māori framework. That's huge for an organisation. I bet this is better than Te Koni Kōkiri, the Ministry of Māori Development. Like, this is amazing. It's amazing stuff. So, you know, when we have a KPI for cultural competency and within the organisation for our CEO, like, man, he can't waffle his way through saying that, yeah, we're ticking the box. Because he can put, the honour can give this to him to say, actually, here you go. We've had all of these goals come through. Here's what they are. Here's how these teams are actually walking the talk. Real fantastic stuff. I'm really proud of it. A big mahi to your team and to Guy in our organisation for taking this on board.
So with Hilda move it, Moko second. Favour? No. Against? So, 6.4, don't move. Anything you want to add to resolution? Okay. That Te Kuaka received a report memorandum on 30 August 2024. Just move it a second, please. It's John. Someone second. Thanks, Hilda. All in favour? Staying. 6.5.
Just on that one, just quickly, what's our timelines look like? With hold on.
We are undertaking at the moment revisiting a number of these. We hope to have actually about 7 dates locked in by the end of the CE's office. And so I'm hoping that by the end of the year, we should have a number of these signed. There is no end date on these. We are just working with diaries and getting out to the area.
Thank you. I just note that signing an MOU is a milestone. It's not the destination. And so then we just need to carry on, but obviously the work plans be good effective. So essentially, Tohono are just going to get busier and busier. Phase 2, like second and third phase meetings, and just carrying on the money. So,
Mr. Chair. I really I'm pleased to hear that, right? Because in my view, when I was participating in the meetings that I did attend with you, I felt that there was a casual but quite formal sort of approach that you offer to the groups, and in particularly around how they can communicate directly to you. And vice versa too, because I think in the climates that and a number of them are in now. I think it's just that a phone call away as opposed to the more formal. And I think that's a good basis to start off now, because I know for a fact in our closest iwi here, then now it's about looking at sort of entertaining some ideas to around approaching the council. Yourself first, or your senior management, to start what they see as a relationship discussion.
Are you talking about Ngāpuhi?
And in general, yeah.
I know we require both Kai and Whitmore at the same time in the same place, so there's a quite reality around engagement. Take it on board, maybe your note, your tone of those audited, and then coming around behind, Guy, is you're giving effect to what you can in those environment reports. I've heard you date, despite the formalisation. I wouldn't make it up. What did you say?
Okay, so what are we doing?
I'm just waiting for Phil to say his piece, and then it's me to resolution.
Kia ora tātou. Thank you for providing me another opportunity. I'm just picking up, you know how I was talking about linking the dots earlier? And Te Hono's doing some fantastic stuff. I've just heard from Guy that, you know, there's going to be increased work below the mahi for them. From a Te Kaho Tāone perspective, we had no problems coming inside Te Hono to co-design what an implementation template might look like for your use or your items. Just to help, and we've probably got a little bit more capacity on our side to speed things up. So if we're just putting it off on the table, if you would like us to help co-design something with Te Hono, we're comfortable willing to support something like that. And obviously bring the draft template back to Te Kuaka to have a look at.
Okay, so what we're going to resolve is just receiving an environmental plan update.
Yeah.
Even though I want to take a liberty in some of the summaries, we get it. This is a journey. So just someone move it, please.
Happy to move.
Thanks, Kelly. Someone second.
Aye.
Okay, thanks, call for favour. Okay, it's same. Uh, 6.6. Kuaka. Just a quick update. The metaphors that sit in Te Kuaka is they're quite insightful and speak to epistemology. What we're finding in the Ngāti Kuri space is as we share these stories, we are asking to engage with Russian and Chinese governments about Te Kuaka, that whole manu that flies 30,000 kilometres that way. So there's an aptness about the name of this committee and they are aspirations. I'm often off the on-ramp, okay, on the on-ramp. Okay, that Te Kuaka received the report. Yeah. Received the report, click up a Māori support Māori to award planning. Any more you'd like us to update before you?
No, it's read, but noting that the next round of reports will likely come to for input more into the next reports.
Okay, we've got the resolution in front of us. Just move it. Someone, is that you?
Aye.
A second, thanks, Kevin. All in favour? Yes. Then 6.7. That Te Kuaka received the
report now. Māori Academy.
One little. I mean, anything you want to add to? It's the movement, please. Okay. Abe, second John, all in favour? Against? Abstain. Then 6.8, that Kuaka received.
Oh, can I just ask,
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah, we can back at the source up, smashed it into reverse.
Puawaitanga and oh, have we got a steering group, you know, who is the steering group? You know, for the Puawaitanga complex? Is there a community one, like?
It was.
Yeah, it was, but it isn't now, I guess.
No, the terms of reference were to come up with a plan. And they've done that, so their terms of reference were discharged. And it was disbanded, and that was done by the previous chief executive, Sean. And it has been in a process of getting the facility operational. And that should happen early summer. And then Scott at the meeting, I understand, at the mayor and the codes again on Friday. I know the codes are very anxious to be involved. I can't comment any more than that. I just don't know.
Dave, you got your name in there. You're going to assist with the idea of a sports academy.
That, I think, Madam Chair, that was only in the area of discussion. It was a discussion only. I wasn't too sure whether the committee actually started, because it was not only mine, but also Councillor McNally's. I don't think we've gone any further in that, just that I know of. Sorry.
Just interested in that.
Could we do this, just move the resolution and note the work needed to do around those that order we just raised? How do we get our support?
Councillor Court and Kapa, are you guys invited to this Friday meeting?
No.
Sorry, but
I'll check in if available, please, 13. It's not a closed meeting, but it was Scott May was due for a update with me. I asked that I just also be present. So okay. So everyone's all got the same message.
Yeah, that's
virtual room.
Challenging for me because we're not having. We're not all in the same room together on the conversation, and I feel like I can be some delicate and just call it like it is. If you don't get the answer you want over here, you're going over here and so on. And everybody's trying to do the right thing, but we're not aligned. We need to be aligned, and we need to be fair and consistent with our messaging. Otherwise, I think we're being fair to the codes and the community.
I don't know anything about it.
Okay.
Can I just ask though, the report mentions an internal steering group. Do we know who this internal steering group is? That's staff? Yeah. Would be good if they were able.
Chair, there is an internal steering group with staff representative. So Nadine, Scott, Ruben, and myself on.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so Lawrence has put a comment up there, still forming, so it feels like we've got a bit of work to do to land at the right place. Dan's thought about agreeing to share the meeting. But in terms of the resolution in front of us,
What are you on? 6.8?
Yeah. 6.7.
7.
second vote.
Okay. So they've moved it, John seconded.
That's all.
Yeah. All in favour, knowing there's a bit of work to do? Against? So 6.8, that Te Kuaka received a report. No. Paikoi Hokianga. Any additionality in the paper? Any questions to Arnie and? Okay, a mover. Thanks, John. Seconder. Thank you, Kelly. All in favour? Against? Same. Wow, I'm looking at the last. Okay, well, 6.9. Then Te Kuaka received a report to Te Kuaka to our Māori August.
Good.
Yeah. Dolly. Well, I think it's the part of the conversation.
As you'll see, this just follows a track of what kaupapa had been brought to Te Kuaka. You'll note that in the notes, some of the action points can be closed. They will continue to happen in the background operationally. We have commitment from staff to continue that, but you will notice that Pātea o Matariki will come off the open resolution report. Further down Pātea o Matariki, we can also bring the confirmation of Iwi Hapu Joint Climate Adaptation Committee. So when that kaupapa was brought to the committee, they were looking for 2 representatives from the Kuaka family. We have one, which is Nai's Manuel, and should there need to be a deputy, that deputy will come from Te Kahua Tānui, so they'll suggest that on the day. Other than that, those are the open resolutions for Te Kuaka.
Okay, so we just need to make this resolution. Someone move it, please. Sorry. All in favour?
Aye.
Against? Stay. Aye.
Oh, Courtney.
Just any general business to have in front of us and those on screen?
Yes, I'd like to see Te Onirua Tohi, the Māori come up. It's Kuaka hui. So just get reminded of our obligations with NRC as well. And we were lucky to have Guy at our last hui last week. That's good. That's it.
Okay, any other thoughts? Okay, so we've got a workshop after this.
Oh, no, it's cancelled.
We've got a cancelled workshop after this.
I have an update for that.
Oh,
sorry.
Sorry. So we did have 2 workshops scheduled after the Te Kuaka meeting. The point of those 2 workshops was to gauge engagement and respectfully engaging with iwi Māori from Te Kahua Tānui iwi Chairs representatives. Roger's going to speak to those in a second, but those 2 workshops have been cancelled for lack of having our iwi chairs at the table